Welcome to the world of science fiction where extraordinary tales come to life. Enjoy the journey. The human engineer lived on the edge of the station. Far from the clean halls and bright lights, he was known as Elias, a quiet man who fixed broken machines no one else wanted to touch. The station itself floated between major trade routes, old, tired, and mostly forgotten. Aliens of many kinds passed through, but no one ever stayed long. Elias worked with scrap metal, old tools, and human designs that most species laughed at. They said human tech was crude, heavy, and inefficient. They said humans survived only because stronger races allowed them to. Elias never argued, he simply worked. That day began like any other. With the low hum of generators and distant ship engines, Elias was repairing a cracked power arm when the alarms rang. Not the kind for invasion or fire, but the sharp tone of medical emergency. Few people reacted, emergencies were common here. Then the doors opened and an alien family rushed inside the bay. They carried a small child wrapped in cloth and trembling in pain. The child belonged to a tall insect-like species. Fragile at a young age, one of its limbs was gone. Burned away by an industrial blast, medical drones arrived and scanned the child. Red warning symbols filled the air. The drone spoke in flat tones, saying the damage was too severe. The limb could not be regrown with available technology. The alien parents cried in their sharp, clicking language. They begged, offered credits, power cells, anything. The drones repeated the same words again and again. Probability of survival was low. Elias stood in the corner, listening, watching the child shake. He noticed the wound pattern, the nerve clusters, the way the muscles had been torn. To him it looked familiar, it looked human. He stepped forward slowly, wiping oil from his hands. The drones turned toward him and warned him to stay back. This was not his task, this was not his species. Elias spoke softly, his voice calm. He said he could try something. The drones rejected the idea instantly. Human biology was incompatible. The alien parents looked at him with fear and hope mixed together. They had nothing left to lose. One of them lowered their head and allowed him closer. That was enough for Elias. He carried the child into his workshop. Ignoring the protests behind him, the room smelled of metal and heat. Old human tools lined the walls, nothing clean, nothing advanced. Elias began to work without hesitation. He pulled up scans, sketched shapes in the air. He remembered old injuries from human wars. He remembered how humans learned to replace what was lost, using scrap alloys and flexible joint designs. He built a frame, he adjusted it again and again. Every piece was shaped by hand, every movement guided by instinct. He connected artificial nerves using translation nodes, not perfect, but close enough. The drones warned him of failure, pain, death. Elias ignored them. Hours passed. The station grew quiet. The alien parents waited outside, unable to breathe. No one expected success. Finally, Elias attached the limb. He sealed the connection and stepped back. The child was still, then a finger moved. Just a small motion, but it was real. The child made a soft sound. No longer of pain, the limb responded. The drones froze, unable to process what they saw. The alien parents collapsed in shock. Medical scans updated rapidly. Stability increased. Elias leaned against the table, exhausted. He said nothing to him. This was just work, something that needed to be done. What Elias did not know was that the child carried royal blood, a distant heir to an alien queen who ruled many systems. The moment the limb activated, a hidden signal awakened, a signal no one on the station understood. Far across the stars, a royal chamber lit up. Ancient systems detected human interference, not aggression, not theft, but mercy. The alien queen looked at the data in silence. A human name appeared on her display. A human station, a human act. She rose from her throne slowly. Her guards sensed a shift in fate. Orders were given without delay. A royal ship prepared to move. Back on the station, Elias cleaned his tools. He believed the day was over. He believed no one would remember his choice. He was wrong. ***, Part 2, Consequences in Motion, approx 800 words. The station did not celebrate the miracle for long. Whispers moved faster than gratitude. Alien networks carried fragments of the event. Distorted and incomplete, a human had altered royal blood. Elias returned to his routine the next cycle. He repaired a broken loader arm and recalibrated an old shield coil. People looked at him differently now, some with awe, some with fear. The alien parents kept their distance, not from shame, but from protocol. They knew the truth of their child's lineage. And truth was dangerous. The child survived the night. The artificial limb sinks deeper with its nervous system. Medical drones updated their reports. Confused and unsettled, human design was adapting. Deep within alien data cores, alarms began to activate. Ancient systems recognized the child's biometric signature. Royal markers confirmed the information was locked. Encrypted and forwarded upward on the station. Elias felt the change before he understood it. Security patrols doubled. Docking schedules shifted without explanation. Unmarked ships arrived and did not leave. A tall avian merchant whispered to Elias as he passed. Humans were never meant to touch royal blood. Another alien warned him to leave the station. Before judgment arrived, Elias did not understand their fear. He had not saved a symbol, he had saved a child to him. That difference mattered. Meanwhile, the alien parents were summoned in secret. They were questioned by distant authorities through holographic eyes. Every detail was demanded, every second of the procedure examined. When asked why they allowed a human to act, the parents gave a simple answer: because no one else tried. That answer was recorded far away. The alien queen studied the reports. Her species valued order above all. Emotion was considered weakness. Humans were considered irrelevant. Yet the data showed something impossible. The limb was not rejecting. It was improving the child's neural growth. Human intuition had bypassed centuries of rigid design. The queen felt something unfamiliar, not anger, not fear, curiosity. She ordered a deeper scan of humanity's history, wars, disasters, survival. Again and again, humans rebuilt from loss. They adapted through empathy. Back on the station, the atmosphere tightened. A massive energy signature appeared at the edge of sensor range. The station AI tried to identify it. Then went silent. Dock workers stopped moving. Merchants sealed their cargo. Even the air felt heavy. Something ancient was approaching. Elias noticed the silence. Machines that never paused now froze. Lights dimmed slightly. The station braced itself. An emergency broadcast echoed through every corridor. Unidentified royal vessel entering local space. All personnel remain still. Compliance is mandatory. The alien parents clutched their child. The artificial limb flexed instinctively. Responding to the child's fear, human metal moved like living flesh. Elias stood alone in his workshop. He replayed the moment he chose to help. He did not regret it. But he understood now that consequences had arrived. Security units surrounded his section of the station. Weapons powered but not aimed. Orders were unclear. Protocol conflicted with reality. The royal ship emerged into view. Enormous, elegant, terrifying, its presence bent local gravity. A symbol of absolute authority. No attack came. No demand was issued. Instead, a single message transmitted across all channels. Bring the human engineer. Panic spread instantly. Some believed execution was certain. Others feared war. A few whispered hope. Elias was escorted through silent halls. Aliens pressed against walls to avoid his gaze. To them, he was no longer a mechanic. He was a variable as the hangar doors opened. A ramp descended. Royal guards waited, motionless and imposing. At their center stood a figure cloaked in shifting light. The queen had arrived. She did not speak yet. Her presence alone commanded obedience. Her eyes locked onto Elias, not with hatred but with focus. The station held its breath. The galaxy watched in hidden channels. One human choice had crossed an invisible line, and nothing would be the same again. Part 3, when power bowed, approx 800 words, the hangar felt colder as the queen stepped forward. Her form was tall and elegant, shaped by evolution and command. Every guard around her stood perfectly still, even their breathing was controlled. Elias remained where he was. His hands were empty, his posture calm but alert. He did not bow, not from pride, but from habit. The queen observed him closely. She had faced warlords, empires, and star-killers. Yet this human confused her more than all of them. He showed no fear. She finally spoke. Her voice echoed softly through the hangar, translated into basic language. "You touched what belongs to the throne." The words were not loud, but they carried weight. Around them, tension sharpened, weapons hummed quietly. One wrong move could end a life. "Or begin a war." Elias met her gaze. He answered honestly. "I helped a child, nothing more." "Nothing less?" The queen tilted her head slightly. That response was not in any protocol. She had expected excuses, demands, or apologies. Not simplicity. She motioned, and the child was brought forward. Small, fragile, yet standing. The artificial limb moved smoothly, reacting to thought and emotion. The queen's eyes widened just a fraction. Enough for her guards to notice the limb was not just functioning. It was alive with intent. She approached the child slowly. Royal authority softened into something else. She placed one clawed hand near the limb. Sensors activated instantly. Data flooded her neural crown. Readings exceeded alien medical limits. Growth acceleration, neural harmony, emotional balance, all impossible. She turned back to Elias, her voice lower now. "Why did you not ask permission?" The question was sharp. Elias paused before answering. "Because there was no time, because the child was dying, because asking would not save them." Silence followed, not an empty silence, but a heavy one. The queen felt something shift inside her, a rule cracked. Her empire believed perfection came from control, from strict design and flawless logic. Humans believed survival came from choice, from action. She dismissed the guards with a gesture. Gasps rippled through the onlookers. Never before had royal protection been lowered. Not like this. Then the queen did something no one expected. She lowered herself, not fully, but enough. A gesture of acknowledgement. The galaxy froze. Royal blood had not bowed in 10,000 cycles. Yet here she was, before a human mechanic. "I asked why you saved my child," she said. "Now I ask something else. What would you have done if it failed?" Elias answered quietly. "I would have stayed with them. I would not let them be alone." That answer struck deeper than any weapon. The queen understood then human strength was not in their machines. It was in their refusal to abandon hope. She rose slowly, decision forming. Not as a ruler, but as a parent, as a leader learning. "You have altered the future," she declared. "Not through force, but through mercy. Around them, systems updated, ancient laws adjusted. Human classification shifted in real time, from minor species to unknown variable. The queen issued new orders. No harm was to come to Elias. No punishment would be given. Instead, observation would begin. She warned him. "The galaxy will watch your kind now. Some will fear you. Some will challenge you." Elias accepted this calmly. He had never sought recognition, only results, only lives saved. As the royal ship prepared to depart, the queen paused one last time. She looked back at the human station. "At its rust and chaos, tell your people," she said, "that the throne remembers this day, that humanity is no longer unseen." The ship vanished into folded space, leaving silence behind, but it was not the same silence as before. It was filled with possibility. Elias returned to his workshop, tools waiting where he left them. Yet the air felt different. He felt it too. He did not know what the future held, only that a single choice had changed everything. And somewhere in the galaxy, power had learned to listen. Part 4, The Galaxy Reacts, approx 800 words. The royal ship was gone. But its shadow remained. News spread faster than light through hidden channels. A human had changed a royal fate and lived on the station. Life tried to return to normal, but normal no longer fit. Merchants whispered instead of shouted. Security systems updated without explanation. Elias noticed small changes first. His access permissions expanded quietly, doors opened that never had before. Systems responded faster to his touch. He did not ask why. Humans had learned long ago that attention often came with danger. Instead, he focused on his work because broken things still needed fixing. The alien child recovered quickly. The artificial limb adapted further, growing stronger, more precise, almost proud. Medical drones continued to scan and failed to explain. The limb did not just replace what was lost. It improved balance, reaction, awareness. Human design evolved with the child. Observers arrived in secret. Disguised as traders, technicians, travelers, they watched Elias from a distance. They recorded everything. Some alien factions were afraid. If humans could do this without permission, what else could they do? Fear turned into planning. Other factions were curious. They studied human history more deeply. Plagues, wars, extinction events, again and again, humans endured. They did not endure by being strongest. They endured by refusing to stop, by fixing instead of abandoning, by caring even when logic said no. The Queen's advisors argued endlessly. Some demanded restrictions on human expansion, some demanded alliances, some demanded silence. The Queen listened, but she remembered the humans' words. I helped a child, nothing more, meanwhile. The station became a quiet center of attention. Ships adjusted their routes to pass nearby. Medical cases once considered impossible arrived. All asking for one thing, human hands. Elias did not work alone for long. Other humans arrived, engineers, doctors, builders. They shared simple tools and stubborn ideas. They worked without ceremony. Alien officials observed in disbelief. Humans asked few questions. They demanded no worship. They simply solved problems. Tension grew in the darker corners of the galaxy. A powerful empire viewed this change as a threat. They believed compassion weakened order, and weakness invited collapse. Quiet plans formed, tests were proposed, provocations designed to expose human limits. The galaxy prepared to challenge mercy. On the station, Elias felt the unease. Old instincts stirred. Humans had faced suspicion before. Often it ended in conflict. One cycle, an unregistered ship docked without clearance. Its hull carried no markings. Its energy signature felt wrong. Cold and sharp, station security hesitated. Protocol demanded intervention. But higher systems delayed the response. Orders conflicted. Elias watched from his workshop doorway. The air vibrated slightly. Machines hummed in warning. Something was about to break. The alien child stood beside him now, stronger, steadier. The artificial limb flexed slowly, sensing danger. A message arrived on Elias's console. Encrypted, royal level, short and direct. Observe, but do not intervene yet. That worried him more than any threat. Humans preferred action over waiting. Waiting meant others decided the outcome. And humans rarely liked the result. Inside the unmarked ship, unknown eyes watched the station. They were not here to trade, they were here to measure. To see if humanity would choose force, the galaxy held its breath again. Not because of weapons, but because of choice. What would humans do when tested? Elias closed his toolbox slowly. He placed a hand on the workbench, feeling the scars and burns of years of labor. This was human history in metal form. He spoke quietly to the child. No matter what happens, we fix what breaks. That is what we do. Outside, the station lights dimmed slightly. Power redistributed, defense systems quietly armed. Not for attack, but for protection. Somewhere far away, the Queen watched the live feed. Her advisors silent now, they understood the stakes. This was not about territory. This was about what kind of power would shape the future. Control or care, and as the unmarked ship powered its core, the galaxy waited to see if humanity's mercy would be tested or proven. Part 5. Mercy becomes power. Final part. Approx 800 words. The unmarked ship powered its core slowly. Not with the roar of aggression, but with the cold patience of calculation. It wanted a reaction across the station. Systems adjusted. Human engineers rerouted power quietly. No alarms were triggered, no threats were spoken. Elias watched the readings carefully. The energy pattern was wrong, not a weapon, a test. The ship released a focused pulse, not toward defenses. But toward the civilian habitat ring, where hundreds of lives depended on fragile systems, aliens panicked instantly. Security forces waited for orders. Old empires would have fired back. Humans did not. Elias moved first. He and the other humans split tasks without speaking. Power stabilizers were reinforced. Shield harmonics were adjusted by hand. The pulse struck. Lights flickered. Gravity wavered for one terrifying second. Then stabilized. The habitat ring held, not because it was strong, but because humans reinforced what mattered most. Lives inside the unmarked ship. Observers recorded everything. Humans did not counterattack. They did not pursue, they protected. The alien child stood beside Elias. Watching silently, the artificial limb glowed faintly, responding to the surge. A second pulse charged, stronger this time. Now unmistakably dangerous, a message followed, cold and sharp. Demonstrate dominance. The station AI flagged imminent failure. Time to impact was short. Other species waited to see violence. They expected fear. Elias made a different choice. He opened a direct channel. Broadcast to the unmarked ship, unencrypted. His voice carried through the void, simple, human, steady. There are children here. Stop. The pulse faltered. Just for a moment, data showed hesitation. The observers recalculated. The alien child stepped forward. Lifting the human-made limb, the gesture was small but symbolic. The limb transmitted a signal, not a weapon code. A medical resonance pattern. Human compassion translated into data inside the unmarked ship. Systems reacted unexpectedly. Neural interfaces spiked. Crew members experienced unfamiliar sensations. Empathy, the second pulse collapsed before firing. The ship's core powered down abruptly. Control lost, not through force but through understanding. Across the galaxy, hidden watchers froze. No one had seen this before. A potential enemy neutralized without violence. Without submission, the unmarked ship transmitted a final message. Testing concluded. Threat assessment updated. Humanity reclassified. The ship disengaged and vanished, leaving no wreckage, no victory cries. Only silence on the station. Relief spread slowly. Aliens looked at humans differently now, not as weak, not as dangerous, but as something harder to define, far away. The Queen closed her eyes briefly. Her advisors waited for judgment. She spoke calmly. The test is complete. They chose mercy under threat. They protected others without demand. This is not weakness. This is restraint. She issued a final decree. Humans would be granted unrestricted access to galactic aid systems, not as rulers but as guardians. Back on the station, life resumed, but nothing felt small anymore. The alien child laughed softly, running with confidence. The artificial limb moved naturally now. No longer foreign, no longer noticed, just part of life. Elias returned to his bench, tools worn, hands tired. He felt no pride, only purpose. A message appeared on his console. Royal seal confirmed, short and final. Never harm humans. They do not build weapons first. They build hope. The galaxy remembered that day, not as the rise of a conqueror, but as the moment power changed shape from domination to care. And so humanity took its place among the stars, not feared for its strength, but respected for its mercy. The rarest force in the universe.